Our Minister, Deputy Minister Zekeriya Coştu is with us. We would like to thank Mr. Coştu for being with us to moderate this session. As you know, nowadays there are changes in wind turbine technologies, and this is resulting in a shortening of the commercial life of the wind turbines, and this is also changing the future plans of the manufacturers of the turbine equipments. In this session, we will be talking about the wind turbine technologies and market expectations in Turkey. Please allow me to invite Mr. Zekeriya Coştu, the Deputy Minister of Industry and Technology, to moderate this session. The panel will be consisting of Mr. Ulrich Schulze-Südhoff, the CCO of Enercon, Mr. Ibrahim Özarslan, the CEO of the European region of Nordex SE, Deputy Director General of Aselsan, Professor Dr. Mehmet Çelik, and Mr. Levent İshak, Turkish Country Director of Vestas. Welcome, and I give the floor to our Deputy Minister to moderate this session. As you have mentioned, 60 minutes will be given for this panel. Thank you. Distinguished guests, welcome to our panel. Personally, and on behalf of our ministry, I would like to salute you with my best regards. And it's a great pleasure to be with you on the occasion of this 12th Congress of Wind Energy in Turkey. And I hope that this panel will also make contribution to our industry, and I hope it's going to be productive. I have such a distinguished panel today. It's going to be an honor for me to introduce them to you. But I will ask my panelists to introduce themselves. When I ask them the questions, I will give the floor to them, and before giving their answers to my questions, I will kindly ask them to introduce themselves and the companies they represent. That would be great for us. So, before I raise my questions, I just want to talk about the perspective of the ministry and the reason why we are here as the ministry. As you know, in the last 2 decades, Türkiye has made a great progress and growth. We have a rapid growing economy, and in the last 2 decades, the average growth rate has been 5.4%, which made Turkey one of the fastest growing countries in the world. And the engine of this growth is the industry. The share of our industry in our GDP used to be 15% 20 years ago. Today it is higher than 22%, which is a very good sign of development. In developed countries, it is around 15%. Today we are 22%. We can safely say that Turkey has become an industrial production and manufacturing country. We have a great potential of manufacture. We can safely say that we are a country of industry. Of course, these manufacturing activities are accompanied by a further need for energy. And as a country, we are highly dependent on import in energy. So the latest figures show that we are spending $100 billion US dollars per year to import energy sources, and this is making a pressure on our current deficit. And as you all know, there are fluctuations in energy markets because of the wars and the conflicts in our region and around our region. These are really making energy issue an important, rather more important one. With another perspective, energy matters for sustainability and climate change. And as a country, we are really sincere in terms of fighting the climate change. We have created roadmaps for us, and we are really exerting endeavors in order to fight climate change. And we have a goal to become a carbon neutral country by the year 2053. But on the other side, it's a priority for us to make maximum use of renewable energy resources when developing and growing and also fighting the climate change. Turkey is becoming a renewable energy market. We have very assertive goals. On the wind side, the existing installed capacity is around 12,000 megawatt, and in the decade to come, we also would like to add another 25 gigawatt on top of the existing one. So Turkey is, as I said, becoming an important market in terms of renewable energy. Also, Turkey has a very significant location, geopolitical advantages, strategic advantages, human resources advantages in terms of becoming a manufacturing country. We have a very dynamic domestic market, and we have a potential to become a global player in terms of manufacturing. So Turkey has been progressing towards becoming a global player in wind energy. And about our solar energy capacity, we have a capacity that is #1 in Europe in terms of manufacturing of the solar panels. I don't need to mention the figures regarding the wind energy. I believe you all know those figures better than I do. And we are also an important player in European market. As the public authority, as the Ministry of Industry, these topics are always a strategic sector for us, and it is always a priority for us to keep this as a agenda item at the top of the list. So renewable energy, and particularly wind energy, we attach great importance to it, and we will continue to make it a priority article of our agenda. Today here it's my privilege to be sharing this panel with the representatives of the global players, elite players. It is very nice for me as well to have time to join such kind of a panel. I will enjoy my chance to be listening to you because we have a hectic schedule and we have daily businesses. It is a privilege for me now to be here to listen to you. Now I will turn my face to my panel. As you know, we have defined the topic, wind turbine technologies and market expectations in Turkey. As you know, this playing field is a dynamic one, renewable energies, and there is an intensive competition globally, and I believe the existing players feel this pressure of competition to become more effective, more efficient, more innovative. And in recent period of time, countries are also feeling a motivation to become much more focusing on local productions. This is also another pressure. So our panel consists of very elite representatives of the companies. And probably all the companies will be much more innovative in their product ranges and business plans. So this is actually enabling us to innovate all the time. So I would like to talk about this perspective with you. So where is this industry heading for globally in terms of technology, in terms of the products? So how do you see the future of this industry? We want to talk about this first, and also Within this environment, you and your companies, how do you make projections towards the future? What kind of a game plan, what kind of a strategy are you developing? Maybe on the R&D side, developing new technologies, innovating, what kind of differentiating actions you are taking? Actually, this is my main question, and this is a common question to all my panelists. Maybe when I turn to you, maybe I will ask specific questions, but this is a general question. It's been a long prelude, but in order to save more time for you, let me start. And please allow me to start with Professor Dr. Mehmet Çelik from Aselsan. He is the Deputy Director General of Aselsan, and he is also a board member of the Presidential Technology Policies. And for a very long time, Aselsan has been conducting works and studies in field of renewable energy, and we always see that your works are becoming concrete products. Maybe we can talk about what your works will contribute to our renewable energy sector in Turkey. So we would like to hear from you what Aselsan is doing. Save that, Aselsan is a company which is producing for our defense industry as well, but you are also interested in renewable energy. Please tell us what you are doing about renewable energies. Distinguished Deputy Minister, distinguished panel, distinguished audience, I would like to salute you with my best regards as well. Actually, the title of the panel is much more about the policies and strategies. However, I will be mentioning what we have in our roadmap practically, and also we have our industry people here, and my presentation mainly focuses on what we expect from the industry as Aselsan. So please allow me to speak based on my presentation. On behalf of Aselsan, it's my pleasure to be here on the occasion of your 12th Wind Energy Congress. In our country and globally, there are many developments in wind energy sector, and by taking this opportunity, we will be elaborating on the new developments and to find solutions for the problems or the challenges. Yesterday and today, we have exchanged our ideas and opinions, and yesterday our Ministry of Energy and Deputy Ministers of Energy conducted a consultation meeting with the representatives of the sector, and also today we had some bilateral talks with the representatives of the industry, and all these deliberations have been horizon extending for us, so it's been quite valuable. So I would like to thank you for that as well. And Aselsan, we know Aselsan as a company of defense industry, but I am representing the non-defense industries, transport, energy, safety and security, and healthcare. So this is my responsibility. Aselsan was established 48 years ago, and in 2014, our non-defense sector was also established in Aselsan, and for the first time we established Energy Policies Department in Aselsan. Normally, there is a matrix type organization in companies as big as Aselsan. However, the energy sector department is much more compact. It is quite independent, so we have just made this organizational change to make it much more effective. So this is a civilian area, this is a non-defense area, and in this department, distinguished participants, we have some products for solar energy. We have some central evolution mechanisms. We are working with TÜBİTAK MAU, and our activities regarding wind energy will be summarized in my slides. You will see them. Between Aselsan and TİAŞ, there was a protocol to renovate the wind energy power plant, and this is here we made an agreement with the German Aeromite company, and the technology transfer activities have been conducted since 2022. This turbine platform, the generator and power converter developed by Aselsan, so we are all using them here. And the SCADA system to be used has been designed by Aselsan. In procurement of the component of the turbine, we have increased the local products, so the locality percentage is now more than 65%. So more than 65% of the components are local. We see that there is a supply chain in terms of these turbine components. The nasal hub, the blade, the tower, the foundation, installation. We can all produce them in our country. Actually, we also believe that we have a path to walk, which is lying ahead of us, and we want to maximize the utilization of the supply chain, but we also focus on the missing links in this chain, which we cannot provide within our own country. I would like to show you the components, which ones are local, which ones are still imported. Nasal and hub, local, generator, power converters, SCADA systems, and also some critical components. We are conducting activities to make them local here. The cast components, the transformator, the hydraulic system, nasal and hub external installations, all of them are provided and procured locally. For the first time in our country, for the wind turbines, the asynchronized cage-type generators have been designed. It's a cooperation between Aselsan and the Middle East Technical University, and we are conducting analysis for the thermal design and mechanical design, and all these works have been conducted by the system engineers of Aselsan. And the first prototype was produced by IAMOT company. I don't know whether they are here, but under full load, the design verification tests are now being conducted. Our generator is now in Germany, and it has passed the tests by 90+%, and our engineers are there to make it 100%. And this is power converter. So we have started these activities to manufacture and develop a full-scale power converter manufacturing. We started the testing for this as well. So in Alaçatı wind energy power plant project, we will be using this. Both turbines and the power plant SCADA systems are developed with our acuity under R&D projects. Differently from the conventional SCADA technologies, this Aselsan SCADA system is in line with the new technologies, and it's a microservice-based new generation IoT software architecture, and it has a web-based software. It has a system architecture that can be extended. It is flexible, and there can be some customized libraries for different sectors. In oil and natural gas lines, the field application was conducted, and electric production and transmission lines, rail transport, and drinking water networks are other utilization fields. So currently, for the last 2 years, BOTAŞ is using Aselsan SCADA system in their raw oil, crude oil pipelines. These are used both in the central devices and third-party devices, and we are collecting data in international standards, and we can monitor this. So what I mean is these products have already been commercialized. They are not R&D products anymore. They have been produced and they are commercial now, and the users are really satisfied with them. And also, manual and automated control is available for this. And let's talk about certification. Yes, we have done R&D, we are producing, but what about certification? Under the certification activities, we started to work in 2023, and TÜV Nord will be conducting the turbine platform design certification. And Aselsan and Turkish Standards Institute have concluded a partnership protocol in January this year, and the component certification, manufacturing certification, prototype and type certifications, IEC standard compliance, and Turkish standards will apply for all these certifications. There is another good news I want to break for the local manufacturers. Generator and power converters, design and verification works we are conducting, and for this we have started to establish a megawatt component test laboratory, and this laboratory we are establishing it by ourselves because Aselsan has the most experienced teams in terms of power conversion. So up to 7 megawatts power capacity, we will be able to conduct generator tests, full or partial load power conversion test, energy storage converter and system test. So this laboratory will be one of the elite testing laboratories in Europe. And in addition to the wind turbines, we will also be able to do testings for other components which I've mentioned. Next year we plan to make it operational, and our industry should be attentive to this. Actually, there is only one grid simulator or the main ignition engine. So here we will also be developing the engines for submarines. We are still negotiating with our Navy, and we have started to do the design of the submarines engines here. So the measurement and data collection, system control and test software, liquid cooling system, safety system. So to sum up, under different conditions, different components, under different grid conditions. As I said, there are some storage systems. We are talking about storage systems yesterday, today. So this is something between the supply and transmission of energy, and we will have an infrastructure to test the simulation of all these systems. So this is maybe one of the main activities which we conducted since last year Congress in Izmir. And at the latest, in 8 months, we will be making this operational. I know that I have been speaking a lot. I want to cut it short. This is a renovation project. As you know, in Alaçatı wind energy power plant, there were 2 4.3 megawatt wind turbines, and we will be doing the installation in the second half of next year. There will be two. Two turbines. We have micro-located the places to install them, and we have also identified the turbine class, and we have conducted the ground studies as well. And for most of the components to be procured, we have already placed the orders, and as I said, the delivery will be in the second half of 2024, and the nasal and hub installation will also be conducted by Aselsan. We have already identified the plant, and this plant is going to be used for our small-scale orders, and in the future, Sebahattin Bey is here. If we continue this kind of projects, we will establish a factory, and this factory has a location and all the plans ready. And now let's come back to the localization studies. I have only a few slides left. In addition to all these components, distinguished participants, we also want to localize some other components. I want to show these components to you on the screen. So probably among us, we have some manufacturers who can manufacture them. I just want to raise this point. We want to do it with you, in cooperation with you. We do not want to do it on our own. The body direction bearing, the rail service lift, the blades direction system. So if you want to work in this area, please approach us and we can partner up with you. And again, very shortly about solar energy before I conclude. We are conducted the serial converter and the central converter, so certification works have been conducted, and we are working with TÜBİTAK MAM. We have made an agreement for technology transfer, so considering that every year we will add new 3,000 megawatt solar power plant in our country. So with this, we will be saving $1 billion per year because we are not going to import them, we will do them localized. And 75 megawatt DC. So with the converter, with the SCADA system, with everything. So this is going to be the first local solar system, locally produced solar system in Turkey. And the last but not the least, Mr. Minister, in the world, in this period of time, there is a war of energy supply. And therefore, we also have net zero targets because of the climate change. We have lots of problems, and the solution lies only in renewable energy. And I highlight that, okay, we will develop technologies, but we need to commercialize the technology. We need to create concrete products, and we need to make this locally in our country. This is a must for our independence. In our country, we faced it very frequently in the past in defense industry. There are some hidden sanctions, embargoes imposed on us. Therefore, we need to be able to produce and manufacture them in our country. And we need to activate an ecosystem for the local industry. And as Mr. Minister highlighted, we want to be an international brand. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you, Professor. This is important. Turkey has reached an important size in terms of manufacturing, and we are talking about a 2 billion US dollar economy. This is valuable to us. But as a country, maybe we need something technology intensive, added value intensive. So maybe in this, we need to be activating a national player. Aselsan is very good for this. So this is actually in line with your vision as well. So we find all your work so valuable towards this end. What do I mean by a local player? Of course, this is not going to be based on our national capabilities, but we can also include in this picture international partnerships, because this industry is competition intensive. So rather than starting from scratch, we can do international cooperation, which can save us time. Thank you, Professor. Thank you. Now, please allow me to give the floor to Mr. Levent Isak. I have already created an overall picture and asked my questions, but specifically, the market is what gives the shape to the technology. Of course, there are some companies which are pioneering. However, the dynamics of the market are the drivers of the technology. This market, this is a global market. So where is it heading for? What is the need in the market? So you have your ears in the market. So how do you give shape to your works in line with the needs and requirements of the market? Thank you, Mr. Moderator, Mr. Minister, distinguished representatives of the industry. At the outset, I would like to congratulate you once again for this organization in a year which is the centenary anniversary of our republic. So I would like to extend my gratitude to you, because this has been the strongest Congress of recent years. We have two main topics, Mr. Minister. I would like to merge those two topics to give answers to your questions to become time efficient. Where do we go in terms of wind turbine technologies? There is a trend of growth in turbine technologies. The diameters are increasing. So actually this was driven by the market. But it was also accompanied by other problems. The prices, commodity prices, increased because of pandemic. There were some interruptions in supply chains, and they were reflected into the market, into the prices, so we couldn't get the expected impact. Since yesterday, everybody is complaining about the low electricity prices. These turbines are becoming bigger and bigger. However, we see that they are not making the desired contribution to MCOE. And I believe that, and we believe that, this growth should be rational. 10 megawatt, 15 megawatt, onshore 20 megawatt. I believe that we need to delay some of these plans. We need to be putting our feet on the ground healthily. We are the largest wind turbine supplier in the world as Vestas, and we are one of the leading players in offshore. We have already sold the largest turbine in offshore. The power of the turbine is 236 to 15, and our advantage was this: we acquired experience on onshore and we could adopt it to offshore. Therefore, our growth was a controlled one. And we want to see the reflections of our products in LCO. What I mean, we have the products, we have the platforms, but we want to see whether they will be useful or not. So, shorter towers, bigger blades, this is much more rational. But if you make the turbine bigger, it is much more costly to ship it from one place to another, to install it in the place. There is one point which is specific to our country. Everyone is applying for the turbines, and once everybody is applying, they are applying for the largest turbines. So you want to buy one turbine, 6 megawatts, 7 megawatt, and actually their costs of shipment, their cost of installation, it is increasing LCO. So our objective is not to stay in that part. We want to make some projects which has higher volumes, but which are much more solid. In recent years, you could design a turbine and you could use it for 8 years, 10 years, but today it is only 3 years. There is a significant design behind this, and the supply chain should be developed. And these are all important risks, and you know it. We are losing money. For a long time, the OEMs that are doing this business, they are making loss. For example, a Western supplier, a colleague from the industry, he told me that their company would declare 4.5 billion US dollar loss this year. So we need to stop it somewhere, and we need to be putting our feet on the ground strongly. Türkiye has always been an important and valuable market for Vestas. In the year 2020, when there was all that lock-in and quarantine because of the pandemic, we were making all our investments in Türkiye. Under those conditions, without any accident, in a controlled manner, we exerted great effort and we commissioned an important size of megawatt. And this is quite an achievement, and not for only our company. This is an achievement of the industry itself. I congratulate you all. There is enthusiasm in Türkiye. We have human resources, we have very good people, but this is also debated in the career days. Mr. Minister, we have started to lose people. Every company is having these problems. There is a demand coming from Europe, and many of our colleagues are just leaving for Europe. And it takes time to develop new people to substitute them. So we need to do this, and we need to solve this problem. And on the other side, vis-à-vis the changing world, we try to understand where Türkiye stands from political perspective. We are talking about 20,000 megawatt capacity allocated. We are talking about storage, but we are talking with the investors, and everybody says that this is not feasible, this should change. So with the storage systems, the market is open to everyone. And actually, the tower, the blade, the generator, we produce them here, but in sustainability terms, this ecosystem is under threat. In terms of storage, it is open to everyone. So we really want to see and know what kind of a capacity was created. So as Türkiye, our trust is high, we want to invest more, but we believe that Turkish supply chain should be a part of the global supply chain. So it is extremely risky to open a factory in Türkiye only for Türkiye. Except for YEKA, the capacity in the market is really limited.
Montaj olacak bu sene, bunu gösteriyor. Yavaşlayan bir pazarın içindeyiz.
So
So the market is challenging, but after eliminating all these blockages, I believe that everything will get predictable. And I believe that we can get competitive because we are more than ready to take the necessary steps. But ecosystem and its growth, development should go hand in hand, and it should all be sustainable. Let me stop here because we are challenged by time too. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for this realistic view. You emphasized that there is a pressure of innovation, but maybe that pressure will help the industry, hit their goals and do whatever it takes. Because it looks like there is a risk of moving away from the ideal. And at this point, I want to turn to Mr. Ibrahim Özarslan. Let's continue from where Mr. Levent Isak left. How do you see the latest in the ecosystem or the quality of the products? How do you see the evolution of the industry? And also, what is your roadmap and your future plans? Sure. Thank you, distinguished minister. I salute you all with my most heartfelt emotions. I'll try to be brief, but let me introduce Nordex to you. Nordex is one of the leading turbine producer based in Germany, Hamburg. It's like a mixture of Spain and Germany. We're publicly listed. We have more than 10,000 staff, and our approximate turnover is 5.6 billion. And we operate in Europe, South America, Australia, South Africa. These are our activity areas. And we've been active in Turkey since 2007. Our office is in Istanbul, but we also have an office plus a training center in Izmir. We have more than 400 staff in Turkey. Installed capacity is 3.6 gigawatts, and market share is 30%. But of course, we want to increase the market share, and we're following the market and the latest developments very closely. So, let me answer as such. When it comes to technology, I think the direction is quite good, but let me share my views. First, we'll take a look at the global picture, and then I'll bring it down to Turkey. I fully agree with what Mr. Levent said, because as the industry, we've been witnessing fluctuations, volatility, all the change. Of course, COVID had its impact, plus war, plus the price hikes, the fluctuations on almost all prices, supply moving from another location to another, from here to there. Okay, but what about technology? As Nordex, we are installing our 160 and 175 turbines are already developed, and in April 2024 we will install the prototype. And as of 2025, we will be ready to sell it in the market. So, what does the future hold? Well, first, let's remember the past. Of course, in every couple of years, you see a new technique or like a technology for turbines, but it will slow down in the future. This is our projection, because just like Levent said, all producers are in loss financially. This is important to note down. But as NCOE and as the unit price, wind technology and wind technology prices have come to a certain level, but from that point on, we have to focus on how to optimize, how to offer reliability or get to a further maturity, or how to grow the turbines. And we have to think of how to produce more sophisticated. It's not just limited to engine, by the way. We need longer towers, and the rotary or the tower and the generator size, they should all be optimized so that we can be more efficient. And this would require further tests, but this would also help us be more confident with our products. So as Nordex, you know, we're keeping up with all the latest. So just like in the past, you will see new turbines in every couple of years, and it'll make the competition even more fierce. It'll bring the costs down, but it'll feed competition. But I think the growth and development have already come to a sort of a stagnation. Now, towers, and especially hybrid towers, are available in Germany and in the Scandinavian region. This is the hot topics. The less land they have, the less wind they have, they want to go higher because, the rotary details turn into a burden. So as Nordex, we are aware of it and we're focusing on hybrid towers, meaning concrete, steel, mixture towers. And in tower technologies, we are realigning our focus. The rotary should be the rotor, yes, it should have a great capacity, but equipment, meaning the blades and everything, should get lighter. So there is a constant need of development and efficiency and improvement. But grid management, this is also crucial. Comparing the past and the present capabilities and technologies, I can tell you that grid management is going through tremendous change. I mean, in countries that do have or don't have the capacity are also, focusing on this. When you add a turbine to the grid, you should also think of the optimal, the ideal way to operate. Because there are some reservations on optimized operations. And in Turkey, battery systems look like they can bring about this optimization, this ideal way of management, so that it can also help the capacity. But some countries focus on smart solutions. They want to see the turbines intervening the grid more often, to reach optimal operation. So Scandinavian region, Baltic countries, Germany, our country. Looking at those countries, we see that they are focused on grid connection, grid operation, how to regulate wind farms, plus how to read and optimize the signals and the parameters coming from those plants. So this is how I see it in turbines. I mean, optimization, especially in the grid. But let's take a look at the general, the global picture as well. Last year, of course, war had its toll on prices and on everything. It brought about a fluctuation, but I see a well-stabilized picture. Unit prices, transport costs, there is a stability. There is a bit of a drop in the cost. Supply side also stabilized, both in terms of delivery dates and then all the details with timing. So as producers and as OEM, this is ideal. This is the ultimate goal for us, to see stability. And looking at Turkey in general terms, the Turkish market had always had its fluctuations. So we got together with Yekdam to set our eyes on the horizon, and then came the projects, and those projects were like a great move because they were smaller in size, but they focused on expanding current sites, and it was good for financing, and it was good for optimizing what they already have, and the projects are about to be completed right now, and some new ones are already signed. So now we're focusing on storage and the pre-license for storage. This is crucial, but commissioning those projects seems like will take 2.5 or 3 years, both in terms of the process itself and the financing. But we also see some gaps and some shortcomings. But we also focus on what to do to fill those gaps because we see that the market needs more. And as Nordex, we always prioritized to establish a healthy supply chain in Turkey, and of course, we are always keeping up with the latest. And of course, it's up to local conditions. Now, the wing, the tower, the components, the equipment,
9 componentimizi şu anda
we are localizing at least 9 components, and we're
yerleştiriyoruz.
also localizing the components of the largest blades and turbines.
Özellikle global
And this
projelerde
will
ihracatımız vardı.
we also
Ben
have an
onlarla
export of
ilgili
600 to
önümüzdeki
700 million euros
yıllarda
worth of
daha
exports.
fazlalaştırmayı
But
hedefliyoruz.
in the coming years, of course, the
O
goal
yüzden
will be
tedarik
to increase
zinciri
this volume.
hem
So
Türkiye'de
supply chain
üretilmesi
is
hem de
important,
artık
but both
gelecekteki
in terms of having the
teknolojilerle
production done in Turkey, but also contributing to the sophistication of the current technologies. But in addition, the logistics, the installation, wind power, high quality components, they will gain even more importance. I mean, okay, we're going to have larger turbines. You will find the crane for it. You will have the highways for it. You can come up with easier installation methods. But this is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. But in the meantime, let's focus on logistics, on the costs. From time to time, costs will rise. So let's not limit our focus in technology, but let's see the entire picture, include service capabilities in this picture as well. So widen your perspective, always prioritize supply chain because it'll affect your operations too. But grid management, this is also crucial. But like I said, operation, service, but also the reliable, the seamless operation of the turbine itself. These are all important pillars of the industry. Of course, we can talk about it for hours and days, but I don't want to keep everyone up. I want to end here. Okay. What a great answer. You emphasized the importance of being able to see the big picture, because, like you said, there are lots of pillars, lots of components here. Well noted. Thank you so much. Now let's continue with Mr. Ulrich Schulze-Südhoff. I hope you could follow the interpretation. So, I want to ask you similar questions. I want to hear about your perspective. How do you see the present? How do you project the future? What will be your strategies or like technologies and everything, but something specific for you? As you know, we're also covering the technology side of our country. So, do you expect something like a breaking point in the industry in terms of technology? I'm going to ask this to all panelists, but I want to start it with you. Do you expect a breaking point, a disruption? Because so many sectors went through disruptions and changes. Because it's all like a snowball effect. One development or like one negative incident turns into like a domino effect and negatively affects everything. So yes, Mr. Ibrahim said, let's not limit our vision or like our focus to technology, but I want to ask you about technology, and I want to ask whether you expect a disruption in the short, mid, or long term.
Bayırlar ve baylar, öncelikle davetiniz için çok teşekkür ederim. Şimdi İngilizce devam ediyorum çünkü my Turkish is just not good enough. I wanted to give it a try. So, I'm representing Enercon. Enercon is, I mean, there are many leading OEMs. Obviously, we're today another leading OEM in the German market specifically, but also, as you know, in Turkey. Globally, so far, 60 gigawatts installed, and with a clear commitment also to the Turkish market, right? We're investing into our supply chain, and we have many very fruitful discussions also with the government, also with our customers. I don't think it really, as a side note, we should really care too much who is leading.
Microphone, please, close to the microphone.
Can you hear me well? We shouldn't care too much about leadership or not, because at the end of the day, we are sitting in the same boat. We are sitting in the same boat because we all have a lot to accomplish over the next couple of years globally. And we also know, and that was mentioned before, currently no Western OEM in the US, in Europe, in China, we don't have the data. It's really making money. We learned that before, right? Now projects are coming in, projects are more profitable again, which is great. But we should also realize, despite all the gains that we've seen in the levelized cost of energy over last years, the industry still needs policy support, state support, right? And that is fair, because we know what's happening in the US with the Inflation Reduction Act, right? Massive subsidies. Just to give you a number, more or less $160,000 per megawatt is a tax benefit for a US-produced turbine, right? And we also know that in China, there are different types of subsidies. And so talking about protecting European value, protecting or building up a Turkish-European supply chain is essential, right? And we need to protect that. We need to foster that to come to some kind of level playing field. And why is that important? It is important because we know that there was a dependency on Russian gas, for example, in the past, right? And we are talking about building up a resilient, independent supply chain. And that is not a European topic, it's also a Turkish topic. We had the discussion earlier today with the ministry. That's really important that we are all pulling in the same direction, right? I mean, that is really where we're sitting in the same boat. Globally, the markets are bullish. In Europe, we will come from somewhere around 14 giga new installations per year to more than 30 per year, right? And for us, the Turkish market has certainly also the potential to be a 3 giga market per year in terms of new installations, only onshore wind. Yeah? That is definitely feasible, right? So to your question, Mr. Deputy Minister, so we are definitely, we see as Enercon a value in quality, right? That is really our brand, that's our reputation, and that's where we're also investing into, making sure that we have a quality product. And exactly to the points of my colleagues, holding quality in this crazy innovation race that we are in, that is really the challenge, right? And the question is really, does it always have to be higher? Does it always have to be a larger rotor? We see many market segments, and that is especially in the densely populated countries like France, Germany, for example. And at one point it would also be similar in Turkey, at least in my view, the discussion. Do you still gain acceptance for the massive turbines? Like if you talk really about a 10, 12 giga onshore turbine, yeah, I don't know who wants to have it close to his village. I mean, at least that's the discussion that we are facing right now. Yeah? So there is definitely, there's definitely a large market for still to go for the next couple of years in terms of using the current nameplates, like megawatt capacity that we see around 7, maybe a little bit more, 7 megawatt more or less in that range, right? For onshore wind, we're talking onshore wind, right? And then also to the comment that was meant earlier, that's definitely true. It's, if we keep on every cycle, like a new turbine every second year, we are for sure not using the economies of scale. Yeah? The whole supply chain gets screwed up. It just doesn't work. We need to utilize for many years the turbine, really milk it, right? And then we also have, again, a profitable business case also for the OEMs. Yeah? And I think we all agree on that, right? I think the other point that I want to make is the question in terms of where technology is leading, right? And I think there are a couple of questions around, yeah, smart turbines, smart blades, more aerodynamic blades. That's definitely, I would think, on the R&D agenda of all of us. To what extent you can also have more control on the cut in and cut out of a wind turbine, more software control. Ideally, you want to do it actually when the price signal in the market is very good for the wind capture rate, right? So that's when you want to produce. To what extent can you really regulate the turbine and power up and power down That is really what many of our R&D departments are working on, because it will be more and more important to make energy, wind energy, part of the entire system, right? Creating some kind of stability in the energy supply together with storage or negatively correlated other renewable technologies like photovoltaic, but also wind energy has its part to play, and the more you can control and regulate the turbine, the better, right? It's all about flexibility, creating wind baseload. I think that is really the big question that we're all facing. How can we come to that point? Which I think is really an interesting one. Also in terms of, by the way, also in terms of data management, data science, to what extent also artificial intelligence can be used to find that or define that baseload equation. It's not only about technology, that's completely true. It's also about the entire system. It's also about maintenance. It's about new models of maintenance, not preventive, interval, time-based maintenance. It's about reliability-based maintenance, condition-based maintenance, predictive maintenance, where you can also use much more the sensoring information that we get from the turbine and understand, together with the meteor data we get, when do you actually want to send out your service teams, right? I think that is really the smart, again, a smart element on the service side. So not only on the turbine technology, but also on the maintenance side. And then we have more and more also discussion about sustainability, right? It's a big topic for all of us, right? It's a huge discussion. How can we, as producers of green energy, also provide the energy with a green turbine? Yeah? And for good reasons, that will be a discussion. And then you're also very fast in discussion of a modular turbine. And that is also, I think, to some extent, the answer to your question. Instead of reinvesting year over year into a new turbine, why are we not more creating platforms? Think of an upgradable turbine, yeah? That you dimension it once in the beginning, like probably a bit sturdier, and then you keep on adding new technology, larger blades, larger rotor, yeah? Almost like permanent upgrades. And that would be, I think, could be a way out of that innovation race, still putting in the latest technology without each time tearing down the old turbine and putting in the new one.
Çok teşekkür ediyoruz. Mr. Scholte, yine bu ekosistemin
Thank you so much for this answer. You reminded us of different pieces of this ecosystem, actually, and it's been great to rehear it. And you also emphasized data management and how to read the data to make it meaningful. These are all crucial. But let's continue with Mr. Ibrahim once again. So this is a great ecosystem we're talking about, and we are already done with our time, but can we have a swift second round, maybe like short questions with short answers? So this is a big ecosystem. So this is a huge ecosystem we're talking about, but you're thinking of value-added services, for example, making the most out of data with good and well-grounded data management solutions, or coming up with tailor-made solutions to create added value. And there is a potential for it. And now I want to hear what you are doing in this regard. Do you have any studies going on? And actually, I'm going to ask the same question to all panelists now. Of course, you touched upon the details as you answered my previous question, but what about your Turkey-specific perspective? Do you have any Türkiye plans or investments? We'd love to hear more. Let me start with the second question immediately. Yes, I briefly mentioned we are on the verge of investing. We have 163 turbines, and the components will get localized. This is an ongoing process. The wings, the molds, they are still delivered, and hopefully next year the components will be localized, and the very first Deka turbine will be installed in the midst of next year. So yes, these are all investments, and I'm talking about 163 turbines, and we have 4 different types of wings produced here. And the export of and the export from Nordex will be like 40%. So yes, investments will continue, and of course it'll be up to the progression of the market. But of course we'll follow the installed capacity. There might be, slight ups and downs, but it's also, of course, up to the market dynamics. But we believe in Türkiye. That is why we are heavily investing in Türkiye, and our team is ready to do whatever it takes. We're running projects, continuing our operations, and activities in Europe and Turkey actually complement one another, and that's great. So this is the answer to your second question. Let's go back to the first question. Okay, turbines will get larger. They will get more sophisticated, but it also brings about further opportunities and possibilities like data analysis, optimization, monitoring, grid management, and all the engineering companies, counseling activities, services, operations, installation services, logistics. Can you imagine how huge, how big this chain is? And it is getting even larger, even bigger. So our recommendation to related company is that, okay, if you have reached a certain position and if your operations are going well, extend to Europe. Go there, reach there, set another company, find a way to move your operations there as well. This is our recommendation because the annual installed capacity is hovering around 14 gigawatts in Europe, but it'll jump to 30 gigawatts. So the demand will skyrocket in Europe, and it will exponentially grow. So looking at Europe right now, Europe already knows that they cannot be self-sufficient. That is why Turkey's role and position and its capacity is crucial here. So those companies who want to do more, who want to reach out more and expand, set your eyes in Europe. If you have come to a certain position, a certain level, and if you are seeking ways to expand your activities, set your eyes in Europe. That's my recommendation. Thank you so much. Let's continue with Mr. Professor Dr. Mehmet Çelik. If you wish, of course, you can answer some previous questions too, but as Aselsan, how do you see your position in such a huge ecosystem? How would you differentiate yourself, and how do you project to become a serious player in the industry? Thank you, Mr. Minister. Let me be brief with my answer. So as you know, we've been discussing related topics since yesterday. There is this reality now. Globalization and commercial activities are in battle right now. The reality of China and India is marching to our doorstep. Emerging countries are now focused on their technology, but their systems are falling apart. Developed countries have aged population, etc. But these are the realities that we know. So another reality is the richest companies are tech companies, Apple, Amazon. Those who innovate, those who run R&D activities are always in the forefront. And in Aselsan, we're always focused in our human capacity. We always set our visions, and we don't want to limit ourselves to wind or solar. We want to focus on transport, on healthcare capabilities, in security. I mean, we want to develop technology in all industry, because who develops technology will win. Do it wherever you want to, be it China, be it India, be it Türkiye. You cannot win any battles with just your pockets full of money or this or that. Focus on technology, because if you cannot develop or if you cannot innovate cutting-edge technology, then you will fail. Are you investing in your youth? Because, for example, we have Technofests. Why is it that important? Because it's a great opportunity to bring millions of young minds together so we can set them for the next generation so that they can be the ones, so that they can become the capable hands of developing cutting-edge technology. How did India grow itself? They sent their students to international schools so that they could receive the best possible education. And then those students returned, and the students are now returning the investments. Now they're the ones developing, generating that cutting-edge technology. That's how India grew. We need to become a global actor, and there is no way out for Turkey. See, we have a meeting with Mr. Minister tomorrow, and we're going to talk about high-speed trains. That's another cutting-edge technology. So if you want to become a global player, if you want to become developed, focus on your own capabilities. Focus on what you have and what your gaps and shortcomings are. If you can't produce technology, you will fail. So as Aselsan, be it local, be it international, we are ready to develop more. We are ready to do more. We are always open to cooperation. But at the heart of everything, we want to become not a local, but an international brand. And we always run our R&D activities with our own equity. We don't sit back and wait for the government to support us. Because we know that as we develop further technologies, we will win more, just like Amazon, just like Facebook. And we will spend what we earn in developing further technologies. Thank you.
Levent Bey, siz
Thank you, Professor. And Mr. Levent Isak, what would your last message be from the perspective of your activities in Turkey? What is your projection for future? What kind of new investments should we expect from you? Thank you, Mr. Minister. Turkey is such an exciting market, but it is a difficult one, not an easy one. Our perspective is this. We have been talking about this issue for the last 2 days. There are lots of figures everywhere. There is a huge demand from Europe. And also, similarly, we have the same from other countries. In the USA, they have this as per their anti-inflation law. So, we are trying to do what we have done in 2 decades in only 5 years now. And you need to do it with low cost, and you need to be profitable in order to survive. So for the future of this industry, these companies should survive. So with Dolaksa, we made an agreement, and we acquired their all carbon, and we were not incentivized by anyone. This was just a logical investment, an investment that makes sense. There was this raw material, the prices were good, and there was added value. So we have to see this. As the country, our biggest problem is current deficit. And one of the ways to close this current deficit, we need to increase export on one side, and also we need to be able to give incentives to the places where we can fill this gap. Turbine technologies are developing class 1, class 2, and class 3 sites. And you cannot put the same turbine in every place. You need to put the different turbines, different heights, different diameters of the blades. Which one are you going to put and where you are going to put it? But if only we can do this, if we can create a market with competitive pricing, and if it is given to the investor as an export loan, for example, if I am not putting 150-meter blade, and if I'm exporting it, maybe in its place I can import another one. So, in the end, we shouldn't increase the cost, but all our studies show that we have increased the costs in the turbines which we have installed. I'm not going to dwell on the finance because it has already been deliberated. That's another world. But Türkiye, is one of the strongest countries in this location, in this part of the world, from the perspective of the labor force, qualified labor force. We need to see this. Turkey is a great market for us. And the other part, what can we do on the technology? It was also said, we installed a turbine, and throughout the lifetime of that turbine, we need to evaluate how it works, how much wind it receives, and it should be able to produce each and every kilowatt hour it can. And there is also repair and maintenance, and technologically there is also pushing the limits of those turbines. We need to be analyzing them. What can we do? What can we get from that turbine in order to understand under extreme conditions, or when we push it, how can we get 1 more kilowatt hour for that? In the future, we will be talking about more efficient turbines. You know, up until recently, nobody was talking about electric cars, but today everyone is. And there is going to be a very swift, very quick transition. These companies should survive. They need to come to an income level to invest in their technologies to make it more innovative. And also, achievement, success comes with an ecosystem, both on the finance side, private sector, and the public sector side. They should go hand in hand. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ishak. Hazudov, in your opinion, will Turkey become more stronger in this ecosystem? Is Turkey a candidate to become stronger? Will you also have a stronger role here?
For sure, yes. So Turkey is a strategic country for us. It's the largest market for us outside of our core market, our home market, Germany. The largest foreign market is Turkey, and it's going to stay like that. As I said earlier, we're investing heavily into the Turkish market, into our production facilities here, together with partners, but also expanding on our blade factory that we have in Izmir. Turkey needs to be, for us and probably for other manufacturers also, the near-shoring solution for the wind supply chain. Yeah? So we heard that a lot. Interrupted supply chain after COVID, trickle effects we still have today. Turkey's strategic location between the Asian market, between the European market, with a very strong pull out of the Turkish market is very attractive, right? Very strong engineering talent, yeah, from the Turkish universities. So they're really very good, very strong reasons for lasting, sustainable sourcing footprint also from our side. We need support for that. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. In addition to all the good stuff that was happening on the LCOE front over the last years, the industry still needs policy support, right? And one issue that we need to solve is really about financing. Project finance in Turkey with the current interest rates is very difficult. We talked about that earlier, right? It's something where we need to leverage foreign export credit agencies, potentially discuss a scope. Can we, for example, the German Hermes scope, can we expand on that in the definition, including also Turkish onshore content, right? But it's also about what we can expect in terms of local content regulation, local content incentives, and bonuses from the Turkish market design, right? To what extent can we also define something like a local value creation bonus for the resilience of a Turkish supply chain? I mean, that's a discussion we have currently at the European level, but again, that also should apply to the Turkish market. So we're waiting for that actually to see how also the YEKA regime pans out, also the latest discussion on local content for the battery supply market design. But I have to give you one compliment at the end. From what I've seen, from the willingness of the ministries, yeah, from the Ministry of Energy, Economy, Industry, over the last years. It's amazing the support that all of us get and the willingness also to have a very clear vision and work eye level to make it happen, right? And that is really what we're building on also to increase our investment in Türkiye. Yeah.
Evet, çok teşekkür ediyoruz.
Thank you so much. Let me continue from the point Mr. Zudov stopped. This sector is an important one with great potential. The existing growth and development has already proved it, but we still have a lot of path to walk. We have a strong ecosystem, but there is also a competition coming from Far East. I have taken my notes according to which, as the public authority, we need to be taking accurate steps, accurate measures. We need to be taking and developing policy measures and steps to give finance to the ecosystem as well as the finance. We need to be taking these actions. As long as we do them, the wind energy ecosystem of Turkey has a great potential. I believe we all agree on that. This is the message I have received. So in Turkey, high added value, high technology intensive manufacturing will be possible for Turkey. And in doing so, this industry will have more weight in Turkish economy. Thank you very much for all your inputs, contribution, my panel. So thank you very much for the perspectives that you have put forward. Personally, I really enjoyed it. And I hope you also enjoyed it. Thank you once again, and I wish you all the best. Thank you, Mr. Minister and distinguished panel. Now we will be presenting the plaques.
Konuşmacılarımıza plaketlerini vermelerini istirham edeceğiz efendim. Ve çok değerli konuşmacımız, bizlere yine çok değerli katkıları olan efendim Enercon CCO'su Ulrich Schulze-Südhoff'a Sayın Bakan Yardımcımız takdim edecekler. Sizleri şöyle alabilirsek eğer mümkünse, hem arka planda gözükmemek babında teşekkür ediyoruz. Ben de düşüyordum. Çok teşekkür ediyoruz Sayın Südhoff'a. Mr. Südhoff, after bestow the plaque, please wait it on the stage, please. Thank you. Nordex CEO Avrupa Bölümü CEO'su İbrahim Özarslan'a çok teşekkür ediyoruz. The photograph after the backside, please. Thank you. Aselsan Genel Müdür Yardımcısı ve UG Sektör Başkanı Profesör Doktor Mehmet Çelik efendim, çok teşekkürler değerli katkılarınız için. Vestas Türkiye Ülke Müdürü Levent İshak efendim, çok teşekkürler sizlere de. Ve katılımlarıyla bu oturumu onurlandıran Sanayi ve Teknoloji Bakan Yardımcımız Sayın Zekeriya Coştun'un efendim plaketini de TÜREP Başkanımız İbrahim Erden efendim sizlere takdim edecekler. Evet. Ve müsaadenizle Sayın Bakan Yardımcı, böyle bir hemen fotoğrafı alalım bugün anısına. Please for the family photo for the stage. Thank you. Ve hiç hızımızı kaybetmeden bu oturumumuzun sonuna geldik. Sayın Bakan Yardımcımız.
We would like to thank our Deputy Minister, Mr. Zekeriya Coştu, for joining us on this session. And after this photo session, we will say goodbye to the panel. And we will not give any break. We have to continue without further ado because we are already way late in our program and our colleagues are